Hey everybody, welcome back to Play the Hits. We are playing Sea of Stars Part 2. Max, let me guess, you've now beaten this game and I cannot spoil anything for you.
That's true. So this is going to be a spoiler kit. No.
Piece of shit. You
I haven't played it at
son
all.
of a bitch.
It's my greatest gaming shame.
Sleeping on the game of the year, man. What the hell's wrong with you?
Actually, yeah, and you know what I was doing right before we did this is I'm getting like my collecting like 30 million yen to just increase my stats like 1% on my weapons in Yakuza.
Oh, I was thinking something like, furiously masturbating while crying, but
I mean, it's kind of like masturbating over the difficulty of the game. Just hey, what's going on, Sparks?
Hey, what's up, Sparks? God, I just don't get tired of this game. Like, I hate to draw the comparison because, truthfully speaking, there isn't much of a comparison. But it's a lot like Chrono Trigger in that way. Like, booting it up,
and which way?
It just sparks joy, you know?
Now, would this be playing with me? Is this like your second playthrough or third?
Yeah. So I've done a New Game Plus, and then this is my second New Game Plus based on my original completed save.
Okay, gotcha. So we're just playing for story, baby.
Yeah, we are literally just playing for story. In fact, I believe we activated, like the almost kind of cheat relics.
Yeah.
The Amulet of Storytelling, yeah.
Call them accessibility relics. You know what?
Honestly, yeah.
We're trying to access a larger audience.
Yeah. I'm trying to not make
they don't
this
care about
be
numbers.
40 episode stream.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things that I liked about it. Even playing on just standard difficulty without any of the accessibility relics on. I mean, the game respects your time. There is very little need for any grind ever. Unless you're really struggling, which I don't know why you would be unless, like, the timing for the attacks just never quite gels with you.
Do you get, like, because you said there's some side quests in this game, do you get, like, much stronger doing those? Or is it like, they'll give you a little thing here and there, but nothing crazy?
No, they give you good stuff. Like, they give you really good accessories and, like, some of the best weapons in the game for the characters and all that good stuff.
Because I know, I mean, on the spectrum of, like, Final Fantasy VI, where it's just like, after you get your 3 characters and the world of ruin, I mean, you could beat the game if you're stupid.
That's true.
You know, all the way to a game like Yakuza, or like a dragon, where it is like, hey, we're going to make it like, if you use your items liberally, you don't have to do a single side quest. But if you do all of them, you can't lose. Like,
yeah. So the cool thing about this game is that you really don't need the ultimate weapons and gear that I've got to beat the final boss. But the strongest boss in the game is the real final boss. And for there, you definitely want this kind of gear.
Okay, gotcha. Now,
it's not
now
like
I'm wondering.
You're never super OP.
Okay.
Which is nice, actually. The game retains. I mean, right now I'm super OP because it's the beginning of the game and I'm almost at max level with all the best weapons. But
it actually was one of my favorite parts about Final Fantasy IV DS is that they added a competent New Game Plus. Like, there was
that was a good New Game Plus. I loved that you could get, like, what were they called? Not gambits. That was 12, but
I know what you're talking about, because, like, double cast. Yeah, augments.
You get
and the thing is, like,
couldn't get otherwise.
Augments were, like, not that common. Like, it was something that it could almost be in the background if you wanted it to be. Like, I definitely missed double cast my first time around because it's not obvious to get it.
I do love that you can get, like, double cast and 1 MP cost for Rydia. Just
and you can do it the first time around, at least. Well, double cast. I don't know about 1 MP cost.
No, I think that's one of the ones where you need to, like, get a strategy guide and carefully plan which ones you're getting and which ones you're ignoring.
Okay, gotcha.
Why am I looking for
treasure? The augments were interesting. It was like the augments, but then also it was really just the end game armor, where it's just like, hey, New Game Plus, your money will carry over.
Yep.
But only the onion sword and the adamantite armor or adamant armor, whatever it is, which is like they did make it easier to get those.
Yeah.
But or the onion sword was totally new, but yeah, that was kind of interesting that it wasn't just like everything will carry over.
Right.
But it was still a lot of fun going at the beginning of the game with onion sword and crazy armor. And
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know, even though I really love the new game plus in this one, I think my favorite ones are the ones where they like reset the level to level 1 or whatever, so that you can play with like the really crazy equipment, but you can, in a weird way, kind of challenge yourself by essentially ignoring random battles and not leveling up at all.
Or doing like a speed run almost, where
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I'm not going to do the side quest really. I just want to see, like, the beginning of the game's still going to breeze by, but it's going to get increasingly harder because
Yeah.
you're not doing much of anything other than the
Right.
main story.
Now, you have seen this part, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Where he gives like their visions to each of them.
Does it give visions?
Well, he
Maybe I
gives
haven't
like
seen that part.
not visions, but like predictions.
Oh yes, okay.
Like, your destiny is to be a bitch. Garl.
I do like this part because it's another one that kind of went against my expectations,
Mm-hmm.
where it's just like Garl's gonna get, shafted and he's gonna have a chip on his shoulder,
Yeah,
and
right.
instead it's just like, you know what, maybe this will work, or
Yeah,
maybe he's
like,
the
why the
one,
fuck not?
whatever
It's
that
Garl.
means.
Everyone loves Garl. Yeah, this game is always playing with your expectations, and not in like a, oh, hey, we're gonna be like super edgy and
Mhm.
like non
Or
sequiturs in the
disrespect you,
plot and
like
everything. But, yeah,
we're gonna do something that makes literally no sense. Like,
yeah. No, they never do that. What they do is kind of buck the trends of like, oh, this part of the story was taken from this classic JRPG.
Mhm.
Like, they do borrow like gameplay elements like we've talked about, but the story is just its own thing, and it's super sweet, and I love it. It never deviates from what you're seeing right now. Like, it's always very positive, and the stakes get raised, and some like depressing stuff does happen, but like, it's never like, oh, Garl's gonna turn on you now, and or something like that. Like, that's never even a possibility.
Yeah. Some games definitely, and some games do crazy twists to good effect. I mean, some crazy twists are like, oh, it
Well,
changed the mood, from
Yeah.
from like maybe light to holy shit, I didn't expect this.
Well, this game
But
does
sometimes
have one or two of those actually,
I've heard,
but
I don't know
they're
what they
not
are,
they're
but
not cheap. They're not like, oh, Garl was the final boss. And I use Garl because he's an easy target, but
yeah.
but there's nothing like that.
Yeah, the onion sword sparks, I loved it too. Is
I love there's a weapon called the Onion Sword. Yep.
yeah.
You know, I kind of wonder, like, is there something about like the Onion Knight or the Onion Sword that makes more sense in Japanese?
Probably. I feel like every time I see something that like the humor almost falls flat, it's kind of like, okay, there's some like double entendre or word. It's usually wordplay. I feel like
Yeah.
there's a lot of wordplay in the Japanese language just because these days they only have like 50 something sounds. So there's a lot of combinations of sounds that are a lot of different words, or instead it could be this one word, or it could be this thing you're doing in like 3 words or something in English.
Yeah.
I know Oda likes doing that with an onion knight, a knight that used to be a farmer. Is that like an actual thing? Like,
I don't know.
I've
Seems
never
like
heard
it.
of that, but that would be, yeah, it does seem legit. Like, yeah, that totally happens. I mean, what
Oh
do
yeah,
knights
it happens
do
all the time.
when a,
Onion
when a
farmers.
like it's like when a quarterback gets to be like 40 something, unless they're Brett Favre? It's like, okay, well, you got to retire now.
Okay, so we don't really talk sports on this channel very often because I'm frankly just not super into sports, but
Yeah.
you know, I do still follow the Steelers and everything, and so I get some NFL news occasionally.
Yeah.
Why
Are
do
they
we all
in the
have to
playoffs?
act? Why do we all have to act like Bill Belichick is the fucking greatest thing to ever happen to football right now? The dude fucking cheated.
Oh, yeah.
Have we all just forgotten about that? Like,
Oh,
for
yeah.
the first 8 years of his fucking career with the Patriots, where he would literally just buy spies and send them into other teams' camps. Like,
Oh yeah.
and now we
I
all
mean,
have to
there.
pretend that he's like some patron saint of the sport. Fuck that, dude. He's
Okay, so stupid question: is he like head coach of the Steelers or something now?
no.
Or
He the Patriots, but he's retiring.
he's retiring? Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. So never went away from the Patriots.
No, well, why would he? It was a
Yeah, I
money making
mean,
machine, and
Yeah,
And
I'm
he
sure he was
not
able
only-
to demand.
he not only got away with his cheating, but literally became one of the most celebrated coaches in NFL history for it. Like,
Mhm.
fuck that, man. Like, I have not forgotten, and I won't.
No, and most people have, and I think it also tells the.
Didn't South Park do an
It shows-
episode on it?
Oh yeah, they did.
We're
I
like
still
the
remember
whole like
Cartman
there
being
was
like,
one
"Bill
joke for the
Belichick."
entire episode, and it was just them constantly ripping into Bill Belichick.
Yes.
Like, yes, that is good. This is what should happen. Except instead of having like the cultural effect of people became more aware of his cheating, it's just like, oh yeah, he cheats. Like, no,
That was a
fuck.
funny episode.
Takes the whole fucking fun out of the game.
Yeah, why isn't everyone gonna cheat now? You know,
Yeah.
it showed that there's not a whole lot of
Yeah.
blowback to it,
And granted,
or people will just forget.
yeah, absolutely. And in the last 10 years, I really have kind of fallen off the NFL quite a bit just because of how toxic the culture is that surrounds it.
Yeah, I get that.
But yeah. That attack did nothing.
Nothing.
You suck, Zale. Magic without magic comes in. I can't do.
All
I
right,
cannot do
here's-
Badger's voice.
Oh, that's right. I learned for the first time when you told me that that same guy in Breaking Bad does like Wedge's voice and
Yup.
everything.
Dude, did you ever see the alternate ending of Breaking Bad,
Yes.
where he wakes up and it's Malcolm in the Middle?
Malcolm in the Middle. Oh my
That was
gosh,
so
yeah.
awesome. I love that they got.
That's
What was
the
the
canon
actress's
ending
name?
in my brain.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
The one who played Lois.
I don't know, but they got her to do
Oh,
that,
and she was brilliant. I mean, she was brilliant in the show too, but
That's the canon ending in my head.
right
because,
where it was just a fever dream of
that
hell.
show is just very depressing. Otherwise,
Like, yeah, and that was the whole point.
boosting.
Need tutorials.
Just imagine them just twitching, just like yeah, shit.
Boost.
I'm gonna
Boosty
boost now.
boost. Also, like,
Yeah.
one of my favorite parts of this game surprisingly turned out to be the MP system. And I say
Oh.
surprisingly because during the demo, I hated it.
Oh
But,
yeah.
like, it's such a integral part of the combat and, like, such a fun challenge to boost your MP and keep it to a level where you're able to effectively use spells.
Yeah, it's interesting because if you're not paying attention, it's just like you don't have a whole lot of MP. At least at the beginning of the game, I know your MP just runs out so quickly.
Well, and it does throughout the whole game. I mean,
That's what I thought. Like
the most you can ever really do in this game is pull off like 2 or 3 consecutive spells with a character.
Mhm. Nice.
But then just learning to maximize, you know, your MP recoveries and so essentially spells are meant to be used strategically. It's not
Yeah.
really not in the way that I'm using them right now, which is to just brush off minor battles quickly. I'm doing that because again I'm over leveled for this part of the game.
Yeah. So
But
you
by the
can
end of the
make it
game,
a little
like,
more speedy.
You've gotten into this like excellent rhythm of like when to physically attack, when to use an item, when to cast, and yeah, it's super satisfying.
When you're boosting, by the way, whenever you do it, you do have to take everything on the battlefield, right? You can't just take some of it.
No, you can. I can. So there's two.
Oh.
There's 2 right now. I can take 1,
Okay.
or I can take 2, or I can give 1 back, or I can give both back.
Okay, gotcha. Cool.
So yeah, you can. A really valued part of your strategy is knowing when to just leave those on the field and not use them, because if you wait
Yeah.
until all 3 are available and you've like got a boss like stun locked or something, you can really maximize damage.
Yeah,
that
I was
way.
gonna say when you have that plus the unlocking
It is a cool mechanic.
mechanic, it's like both of those together work really well to make this like a very strategic game.
Yes, and that's the great thing. The battles are always super strategic, and I love it. And actually, that was one thing that some reviewers complained about with this game, is
What's that?
that ordinary encounters sometimes tend to take more time than people would like to spend on ordinary encounters. But I mean, two things about that. One, you can avoid ordinary encounters if you like.
Yeah.
And then two, I mean, how boring is a game where the only challenge comes once every 1 or 2 hours at the boss fights?
Yeah. And the rest of it is just grinding. And you know what? I wonder if that's what people expected. If people were like, you know what, these battles are really involved, so that's going to make grinding very painful.
Mm-hmm.
But I imagine, well, I don't know, how is the grinding situation in this game?
It's non-existent.
That's what I figured.
You only grind if you want to grind. But like, you can absolutely strategize your way through any boss, unless you've been like completely and totally ignoring encounters.
Yeah, I feel like grind is becoming less of a thing, unless maybe it's a one end game thing when you really want to do it.
Yeah, like if you're going for an optional boss.
Yeah, grind. And sometimes I like grinding, even if you don't have to for the last thing. I just want to be like ultimate.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was a requirement. I mean, it was a requirement to grind as you went along in games back in the day. Like, yeah, like especially like old Falcom, like Wanderers from Ys, these games in general. Lagoon, like that dumb shit.
I always
just like run through every dungeon twice.
Guessing she meant grind. These two actions, which one regenerates MP? Okay. So what was I gonna say off that exact same train of thought? Shoot.
Something about Bill Belichick?
Grinding, RPG, this game.
Strategic battles. Some people didn't like it because the battles.
The other part of that is if you really don't want to deal with like just the small fry enemies and just rush through them to get straight to the boss fights, then just equip those accessories like we have on right now that just make common encounters a breeze.
Yeah.
Because there's no penalty for it. Like, this game does not insist that you grind at all. Mm-hmm. But like it absolutely, in my head. It absolutely still lets you get trophies and all of the good stuff. But it just is it's as accessible as you need it to be. And so for the first time through, I didn't use any of the accessibility stuff. But with this, where really we just want to kind of experience the story and take in the beautiful artwork, then yeah, I'm going to use it. One very important Solstice Warrior duty is to destroy dwellers who become vulnerable during which natural phenomenon? The eclipse.
The eclipse, I think.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we're going to be in Indy April 8th. Actually, I think sweet. April 7th as well, because there's a solar eclipse happening.
Oh, neat.
And the line for that is going right through Indianapolis. The line of like seeing the eclipse at its best, like darkest, last the longest kind of deal.
I didn't know that.
So Indianapolis is becoming like a real hot spot beginning of April.
Good to know. I will avoid Indianapolis during that time.
I was about to say, if you want to see it, cool, or if you want to avoid it, I get that.
Absolutely. Because
it'll probably be a shit show.
Yeah. Dude, I to this day, like, I like going places. I like seeing neat things. I just fucking hate crowds, man.
Yeah.
And it's like only gotten worse with age. I just get actively and irrationally agitated.
I think people are going to be like leaving, like coming in and leaving the same day, because it's like it's literally a.
Oh, you cut out there, Max. Max.
Stop. Uh-oh.
Oh, now I can hear you again.
Was my voice being weird or something?
Nope, it was completely off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was wondering, because the game just kind of stopped for a second. You suck.
Oh, you do suck. Suck.
You suck.
Stupid son of a bitch. I don't mean that. I love you.
How do I look? No, come back.
I fucking love you. You know that. I've always known that.
Just imagining Shao Kahn.
Shao Kahn.
Kataro's head on his loincloth.
Oh, come back. I love you.
Stroking his little weird ponytail lovingly.
I guess I can't use attack spells here.
Bitch.
Bitch. bitch. Aw, bitch.
Oh, bitch.
Rick and Morty. Was that Rick and Morty?
That was.
That was Rick
Yeah,
and
it
Morty
was.
with Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, whatever his name was.
Well, not quite Freddy Krueger.
basically.
Aw, bitch.
It's Freddy Krueger, but with testicles on his chin.
Yeah, he had like a ball sack for a chin. But he wasn't Thanos.
No.
That was a weird ass design. Like I know they took it straight from the comics, but Thanos
that was
just
weird ass design too.
goofy looking character. But the Freddy Krueger one intentionally so.
Yeah.
Someone at Marvel originally, when they were animating Thanos, thought it was a great idea to just attach a nutsack to his chin. People won't notice.
No one's gonna read into this.
So, fun fact.
Also,
go
ahead.
Well,
I was just gonna say the puzzles in this game for the dungeons are, I don't know. I've only seen this one and the one from the demo.
Yes.
But
they're all
they're
that
kinda
good, if not better.
They're good, and they're very what do you call it? They're very inventive, but they're also kind of a little bit more difficult than most RPGs, I would say.
And I like that. I love when it's actually engaging and fun to explore a dungeon. The Golden Sun games, which I think I recommended to Sparks on the last time we gamed.
The last time, yeah.
That to this day, like I think those are some of my favorite dungeons. Though the only downside about Golden Sun is that there's one or two that could absolutely feel overlong, like just huge fucking dungeons in that series, and I don't quite know why. Because it's a handheld series, so you would think, I guess you can save anywhere, but you would think that Bite Size would be the name of the game in a handheld RPG, but no. Some of the biggest, most elaborate dungeons ever, the Golden Sun series.
They're not randomly generated, are they?
No, not even.
Okay.
And that's the beautiful thing about this one. They don't repeat. Like the puzzles and the dungeons, they do not borrow things from each other. Like each one is super unique and inventive.
Yeah. I don't know if you ever played either of the Evolution games on the Dreamcast. It was still kind of in a day where it's like I would have liked more RPGs on the Dreamcast.
The Dreamcast
hardly
got
any
from RPGs.
Yeah. So it's like, hell yeah, I'm gonna play Evolution, and the game looked really nice. It was kind of cutesy, had like a style going for it.
Oh yeah.
And the mechanics were fine enough. It was just I couldn't do it. I played both of them, and the dungeons just ruined that game. Like,
oh yeah.
Not only they were super long and randomly generated, like just the worst combo. They were so boring.
I do not like randomly generated dungeons, which is the only thing that I'm a little worried about at the beginning of February when the remake of Persona 3 shows up. I know the big mechanic in that game was like the central tower that you come to like over and over again throughout the game, and I think the floors are randomly generated.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? We're now seeing stuff I've never seen before.
Okay, cool. Hey, guess what? We're Solstice Dwarves. Oh, so what I was going to say at the beginning of that boss fight, fun fact, I won't say how you get there, but you do a rematch with Elder Mist in the end game, and that's how you get the ultimate weapons for Valerian Zale.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
So he's holding back on us right now.
Oh, totally.
He holding back, but at the same time, he's holding some valuables. Like...
Yes, he could absolutely lay us the fuck out right now if he wanted. We did it. We're ready to leave this place. Find me back at the Sacred Park, and I will tell you of your respective prophecies. This is the part I was talking about.
This is going to be interesting. No. Okay, gotcha. What do you call it? Very interested to see where this will go, just because when it comes to time and stuff, like that was obviously a big thing in the Messenger.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to see what the tie-ins are, like how this is going to work. Because they've been talking about prophecy this whole time too in this game. So
it was just a test. No, Sparks, he was out for fucking blood. Children of light, now you must die. It is your time.
It is
I have looked into the future, and you
it's
have
the
no
Elder
future.
Mist time.
You have no future. Morning, but it's the middle of the night. Ah, yes, I suppose your friend should address that.
Dun dun dun.
Address what? Kill the sun. Oh, God. Bring us the dawn. We can do that? I mean, no, we can totally do that. Ooh, all it takes is for you to stand on a celestial rune. And what? Something inside of you knows already. Pee on it.
Kind of sounds like groomer talk.
Do it. Just pee on it a little.
Inside,
Okay.
you don't realize it, but you want this.
You want this deep down.
God.
You want Elder Mist, don't you?
Oh
Filthy
God,
little
no!
sluts. Oh God. Elder Mist, stop.
Oh no. Sparks, I agree. That's kind of like, even though I know better most of the time, I kind of just want to be overpowered, because as a kid, it was very much, oh, nice.
Oh, this
As a
really
kid, it
shows
was
off
like,
that
I'm
lighting
not gonna
engine,
be-
Max.
Yeah, I saw the shadows kind of do their thing.
Sorry, go ahead and finish your thought for Sparks.
Oh, I was just gonna say, what do you call it? Like basically leveling up. I always do a little bit of grinding before I like kind of take on end game stuff, especially.
Same.
Or anytime there's a part where it's very obvious, like, oh, especially in older games, like this is the part they want me to grind.
Right.
Like sometimes there's just like one enemy that's like, oh, they give you 5 job points or something, and it's like, wait, what the hell? Like out of nowhere, it's like, well, I gotta do what I gotta do.
You know, and that's one thing I will say. I try not to grind
really hard. Sorry.
No, you're good. Pull the rope around the sun, yeah. No, I try not to grind for levels if I can avoid it. Because I feel like that's like a super cheap way out. But I always grind for ability points. Like if there's an enemy that gives like a ton of AP but no EXP, I will farm the shit out. Like Cactars in FF6.
Yeah.
Like I always max out my magic, but have a party of like level 30 characters when I go to Kefka, just to see how much I can break the mechanics of the game and still beat him.
That's true.
It turns out quite a bit.
That's why I'm liking more and more our RPGs, even JRPGs, are doing away with completely random encounters.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, maybe you have to avoid them, or maybe it's just like, hey, here they are, but you kind of don't have to do it.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, you can totally.
You just
see what I mean about the shadows, though.
Or something. Yeah.
I love that. That everything casts a real-time shadow. I also love that the music changes depending on whether it's day or night. Did you catch that?
That's a cool mechanic, just in general. So it's just like, I think you were alluding to this in the last episode, but it's just like, it makes sense that they would have wanted the Shadow game to be on point. Like,
Totes my goats.
So he didn't actually do the prophecy yet, did he? I don't think so.
No, not yet. We'll get there. We'll get our prophecies, don't worry.
Also, it's like, is this changing for the entire world? Everyone's just like, what the fuck is going on? We gotta solve some puzzles.
This has never happened before. Everyone starts praying.
all the birds just spontaneously dies. They don't know what to do.
Ooh, you are ready to be sent out into the world.
Oh. Did he sound super different?
See you off again, but first your prophecies. I will speak them to your minds directly, for they are yours and yours alone. Also, there's a line of plausible deniability.
I ate some elder burritos, so don't mind the farting.
Oh, God. In order to reach your full potential, you will first need to stare at the night inside of you. Thanks, Elder Mist.
Yeah,
What was that all about? Valere, approach. You're gay. Really, like everyone else gets a big, like, you know, mysterious prophecy. He just looks at Valere. You're gay. Okay. I mean, I kind of knew that already, but when the time comes, you will be the one to create paths on water.
For Garl's just, your eye never grows back. It's like,
I'm not sorry. You don't deserve it. Understood. Oh. I get one too? Awesome! Must be mindful of your limitations during this journey. Remember,
damn.
you suck. This is not a conversation. I love it. Oh, my bad. Carry on.
Yeah, that's cool. He's the only one that did that.
Yeah, he's the only one who communicated back to him telepathically. Oh, Mr. Unclear in your case, but it appears your heart might be warm enough to soothe a long-tormented soul. By the way, out of all three of these prophecies...
know why.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know why, but saying the long-tormented soul, it's like, that's definitely the narrator in the beginning.
Oh, okay. That's your theory?
Yeah.
All right. Good to know. Let me know how that works
Didn't
out.
he say something? He said something like, "I've been waiting," or "I've been reading these stories."
Yeah.
Trying to. He's looking for something.
He is. He sure is. All right. How would you pronounce that name, Max?
Okay, it's not how I was reading it in my head, and I just said X-Toll.
X-Toll? Okay. No,
And I'm sure it's
I
probably
did like
Google.
Stoll. And I'm wondering if it was like a joke of some kind, but...
Yeah, X-Toll just kind of sounds like I played this game when I was 8.
Right, X-Toll. Like X-Death, that stupid lazy-ass translation. I
mean, that ended up being the translation for everything.
Sparks. Man, I wish some floating cloud with an epic mustache had told me I was gay sooner. Come, receive your prophecy. Oh, you are so gay. How did I not see how gay you are?
Oh, damn. Wow, okay.
Right, I love that.
It's like, that wasn't supposed to happen.
It really wasn't. Like, so he was going to tell him the name of the other one so that they could be thrown back and forth if they needed, but Garl said its name, like, right away.
Oh, gotcha.
Sparks, yeet. Which is interesting, because the name of this other one that they're flying to right now, whose name they didn't get, turns out to be Yeet.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm totally serious. Its name is Yeet, so Yeet and Stoll. Which is, again, why I wondered if it was like a pun of some kind that I didn't get.
Archivist, that was his name.
Yes, the Archivist is probably the most important character in the game. Besides Garl. I have no system of organization for my books. I've never read any of them. They're just wall trophies.
I'm the only one that lives here. Don't judge me.
So, like, I know it's an RPG and it's fun and it's magical, but wouldn't it be great if, like, he opens and just, like, liquid just spills out? Like there was a seatbelt that he didn't get a chance to tell them about.
Right.
Like,
this is very important.
In there and became
shit.
pulp.
Mortal Kombat 3 bones and 5 rib cages come out.
Right. The world was so big. That's right, you guys have only lived in one fucking town. Find a boat, I suppose. Ground level then. There's only one way you can go from here anyway. Now, Max, we're getting to the point of the game where I need you to promise to remind me not to go out of my way for treasures.
Okay, you got it.
Because we can spend
nothing you're gonna find.
We can spend entire episodes in each one of these maps, and it'll spoil things more than I want to spoil for you. Like, I want there to be a sense of discovery when you eventually play through this.
I appreciate that. So yeah, I'll tell you like every 5 minutes, like, hey, just go for story.
We getting the fuck out of here or what?
Yeah, are we getting out of here?
I will collect ingredients.
It's gonna really sound like I don't enjoy this game. Like,
yeah, right?
Well, yeah. Hey, are we getting the fuck out of here?
We can move the fuck on. I'll always collect ingredients though if they're on the path, because you can always cook shit.
Mm-hmm.
And there's never any real trick to getting them. They're just right there.
Yeah, I just dig the look of this game.
I know. God, it's just... And I think that's honestly a large part of it. Like, I can get really sucked in by good art direction. And this game has real good art direction.
It just reminds me of the best, like, the PlayStation had to offer when it came to JRPGs.
Yep.
A lot of Chrono Trigger, but I definitely get a lot of, like, Breath of the Wild, Breath of Fire 3.
Yeah, I can see that. The sprites in particular, very Breath of Fire-esque.
The sprites, I mean, yeah, like kind of the isometric as well, even though a lot of games kind of do that. But Final Fantasy, at least the PlayStation ones, it was always Resident Evil style, just dependent on what screen you're on. Are you
Yeah.
running towards the camera? Are you doing isometric? Some the camera angles they got a little artsy with it sometimes.
Oh yeah. Yep. And I think that's particularly in this game, the fact that they do get so creative with the level design and the camera work and everything. I always enjoy that.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Shrooms.
Let's go pick some shrooms. But yeah, like the environments, they're never lazy. They're never the same. Like, even
Yeah,
on
the
like
background I was looking at, it's just like, whew.
right. Well, like even on our favorite SNES games, like take FF6 for example.
Okay, these fish people are a little racist though.
Yeah, a little bit. Anytime they do
no.
those lips, it's always ill-advised.
But it's also like, isn't this like a Canadian company or something?
I think
like,
so.
We're gonna pay homage to everything.
Even
Isn't this
Japanese
a little
racism
racist?
against the Chinese, yeah.
Homage to everything.
Yep.
Everything.
An homage to everything, but not everything is valuable.
Oh shit.
Oh shit. Oh, so even our favorite like JRPGs of yesteryear, like FF6,
Yeah, it is
like
focused.
super memorable places to go and parts of the story and everything. But like the castles in that game, right? They all use the same texture for the bricks and the mortar.
Oh, yeah.
And, like Figaro Castle looked kind of like Doma Castle, and just as an
I feel
example,
like
not that
yeah,
the game
I'm most-
suffered for it, but
Yeah.
there were some limitations there, and that was kind of a necessity. Like they had to use
that was like not important to them, it seemed
No.
like.
but like they had to use the same rock textures for caves and the same castle textures for buildings, and that was okay.
Mhm.
And we didn't even really think to critique it because that's just, of course, how games look. They were working with 16 megabytes of storage.
Yeah,
and so-
limited storage.
Right. But this game, because it's not bound by those same limitations, like every single room of every single environment is completely and totally unique. Like, yeah, they'll like reuse grass textures, but whatever. That's it. Like every single environment. There's never going to be another autumn-colored mountain in this game. There's
Yeah.
never going to be more than one waterfall locale or more than one misty forest. Like they're all totally unique and independent of each other, and every town has its own distinct look and feel as well, which is really
Okay.
cool.
Yeah, and that is something like, I mean, the SNES era, of course, they're getting more where they can differentiate things, but it was still like you had to reuse assets,
Of
or
course,
at least
yeah.
that was kind of the practice,
Sure.
So yeah, I do appreciate that. It's interesting because when we got to 3D and everything, we started to get more space on everything, but it was still like, well, what can we do with this? You know what? Let's just kind of push the boundaries of graphics and everything, and it was
Mhm.
cool, but it was also, if they had made games like this with like, they could have looked really good. They could have looked like this probably, starting
yeah.
with like, I don't know, the N64.
Yeah, the N64 would have been
not
capable
positive.
mostly of this.
I think so.
Other than
Maybe
the
not
resolution.
shadows and stuff, yeah, and that. But yeah, it was kind of like it took a little bit longer before. Mostly indies were like, hey, you know what? We almost like by limitation, this is what we have to do. But nowadays, I mean, most indies have like major backing,
Mhm.
and they still are just doing what they love.
Yeah.
It's like we don't have to make a game 3D or be like 4K, or look really good high
Though the
fidelity.
fact that this game can run in 4K just tickles my fancy.
Yeah, I get that.
Because I mean, the sprite work is just so beautiful, and playing it on my media room television in 4K,
Mhm.
oh, it's just so nice. So I give them a lot of credit for not being, even though it's a sprite-based game, which pays homage to older RPGs, they definitely do not use the limitations of those older games as a shortcut for the
Yeah.
development of this game. Which
It's like
sometimes, indie RPGs do that.
right now, literally, I'm looking at the water, and
Hmm.
it's just like, okay, that's a cool. However they do it,
Yeah,
it's a cool effect for sure, and just the water itself looks pretty good. So it's
it
like,
does.
okay, like yeah,
It reminds me a little bit of Wind Waker.
yeah. So again, that's something like, yeah, that wouldn't have been possible on N64.
Hmm.
When they want to, they can just make it look as good as they want.
I also love that there was so much crowd support for this game that they were able to do that. They have animated cutscenes occasionally.
Yeah. Okay. So was this like a Kickstarter or something?
Hmm.
Okay.
And that was
Is that how
actually
they
one
did
of their
the
Kickstarter
method?
goals, was hiring somebody for animated cutscenes.
Okay. Wow. I remember the Messenger was Kickstarter,
Hmm.
but I didn't know this one was too.
They used all of their goodwill from the Messenger to get fans to buy in on this game.
That's awesome. Because you think the second game is probably more the love project, like
Mhm.
I don't know. The Messenger was definitely a great game, and you could tell they had fun with it. Like, oh wait a second, I'm like,
Yeah, like what does Garl see? Th-
What
This
are
this
those?
actually
Wow,
is
Garl, bored.
this actually is one of the most important areas later in the game for unlocking the true ending. So
Hmm,
you don't really get what Garl's looking at here until way fucking later.
interesting.
Yes. Traveling historians, of course. So she's essentially just like the lore keeper. She has the bestiary and all that good stuff.
Gotcha. Oh, okay, cool.
Now, what's cool is even though she's not like a combat party member, she travels with you for the rest of the game. It's actually really
Oh,
neat.
that's cool.
Yeah. So
I
like you
like
get to
that.
know her like just as much as you do like the playable characters.
So your party expands in a meaningful way.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, the party in this game is really good. There's not like one character who's just like the ultimate badass that you're always going to use, you know?
Mhm.
Like every character has like super specific, especially as the game progresses, has like super specific combat roles that are like it's almost like FF10 in that way. But like
Okay.
when there's certain enemies lined up certain ways, you're gonna break out Valaire's Moonerang attack or whatever, or you're
Yeah.
gonna do an explosive attack with Garl, or yeah. And there's actually one character in particular who is capable of stunning enemies, and you can break that shit. It is awesome.
Okay.
Not
Also,
like break
I
it
never
as in like
realized
insta kill enemies, but you can really use it to your advantage.
I never realized their hair was magic.
Yes.
I mean, I know they're
I mean,
special children.
if you
but...
if you go into a dark cave like the one that we fell into with the mushrooms, you'll notice that they're actually glowing.
Oh shit. Okay.
Like they literally emit light, which is kind of funny. I love Teeks.
Aw.
And now we're best friends.
Now she's like, kinda.
Garl just decides for the party.
We're gonna get married, guys.
We're now husband and wife, and you have to watch us have sex. Oh God. Oh, I love her already. Yeah, everyone loves Teeks. Garl, do you?
Garl.
No one ever gave Garl the talk, and so he doesn't really know what he's talking about. I'm a real man now, you guys. Okay.
God. Nice.
I love Zale's just always working out. Oh yeah, there were some like Republicans in this game that did a book burning.
Shit.
I know, right?
They ruin every world.
Every fucking world. Not even fantasy is it. God, did you get that fucking link I sent you, by the way?
Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't say anything.
Where Trump
Also,
cronies are literally like plotting assassinations? Like, we're
So I
just
didn't finish it. Is it
business.
Roger Stone?
Yeah, it was Stone.
Okay,
Just
yeah.
business as usual, right? Totally a
Uh,
man that we should let walk free and be part of the political system.
yeah. This is like real life. What do you call it? Whitest kids you know, where it's just like, you cocksucker, you sent an assassin after me.
Right?
We still good for golf this Saturday.
Yeah. Except
uh,
instead, he's actively looking for ways to, remove democracy from the process.
yeah,
It's just
yeah,
it would be funny if it weren't like actually happening and if there weren't like, millions of people in this country who thought, yes, he should have killed those two congressmen. Like,
mm.
really? Like that's where we
This
are
is
now, huh?
yeah. I think people are so just kind of dug in their heels with Trump that they have to find a way to
Yep.
excuse anything.
Everything is justifiable if it serves Trump. Yep.
I have met very few people, like maybe one doctor I can think of that's a Trump fan that's also like or was a Trump fan and then it's just like, yeah, he's kind of crazy. Like
Yeah, I was wrong about that shit. Yes, I me too, Sparks. I thought like, oh, this has to be like some kind of like Daily Show thing. No, it was a real recording of him actually saying that one of these two guys needs to die before they take
yeah,
it seriously. And it's like,
that's one of
no,
those not
fuck
the
you, man.
onion
That's
things.
just not how the system should ever fucking work. God
Yeah.
damn. And then you have like what? Well, what's her name? Bobert, saying that the
Yeah.
Constitution's just a
Oh
piece of
yeah.
paper and we need to abide by the spirit of it and not the letter. And the spirit, of course, meaning whatever Trump wants.
Whatever, yeah, whatever they want. And I did not hear that, but that doesn't surprise me.
Yep.
That's
And
definitely
like these
her
Republicans, and that's
MO.
their whole thing, right? Like, oh, Democrats hate the Constitution. They want to do away with the Constitution. You literally have the woman who's gunning for Trump's Veep spot saying we have to remember the Constitution is just a piece of paper. The words are meaninless. It's like, oh my
Yeah,
God, this is
they're
happening.
yeah, they're definitely the party of every accusation is an admission.
Totally.
Like they want to do away with the Constitution. It's like, no, you're kind of the despots.
Mm-hmm. And like it took the media 4 years to realize what I think you told me, like during the 2016 campaign, is essentially like everything that Trump is saying that Hillary's going to do or accusing her of is
Mhm.
something that he himself wants to do
Or like already did.
or already
Like,
did. Yeah.
or is actively doing.
Well, and it's not like a really
Ugh.
complex code to crack, like he's really
No,
like,
he's just the biggest projector.
yeah,
Like
like buffoonishly projecting.
I think at this point he's kind of the senility's probably a factor there too, where it's just like some of the stuff is like I can't believe people
This is,
still aren't like
I
what the
gotta
fuck.
skip those because it'll spoil everything.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so
Wait.
go ahead.
Oh, she has everything from the end game.
Correct. She has all the lore.
Okay,
So I'm
gotcha.
just not going to talk to Teeks very much in this playthrough. What was I going to say? Oh, so I don't want you to interpret this as me defending Trump, but hot take,
Mhm.
I don't think he's senile. I think whatever mental illness he has is deep-seated and has always been there.
Yeah, his mental thing is like antisocial
Like
personality
super
disorder.
egotism. Yeah.
Yeah, like not a whole lot of empathy. I mean, I know that is
No
something
empathy. Zero.
that is something you see in like people who are very wealthy in general.
Correct.
That
Yeah.
starts
There's
to happen.
I-
Ooh, the cargo, damn.
right. I truly believe there is some deep-seated sociopathy with Trump, and you're right.
Oh yeah.
Part of it's probably a result of his money. The other part, though, is that somewhere along the line, like people in his father's circle or who were around him must have just decided that it's way easier for us to tell him he's brilliant and just let him believe that and work around him than it is to try to get him to actually learn anything. And so
senility thing?
he's so accustomed to that he doesn't realize when he's being transparently moronic. And
Mhm.
because of course what he has to say is brilliant, and of course he's reshaping the formula of American democracy, because that's always been his destiny. He's the most brilliant man who's ever lived, not because he actually is, but because in his father's money-making circle, no one ever had the balls to tell him otherwise.
Yeah.
And so he truly believes that, and that's the game we all have to play, or he's going to throw a tantrum and, storm off with democracy.
Basically.
And he's going to take his toys and go home. The toys in this case being national security and the livelihood of billions of people.
Got dragons now.
Yep, that dragon's important. You watch that dragon.
Excuse me.
You watch that fucking dragon. I love the mole people. Okay, here's a little bit of Mario RPG. The mole village.
What the fuck?
You come to save us? Yeah.
I guess. Nice, Garl.
It's true, no? We should help if we can. I love how half of this plot is Garl just saying, "Yeah, we'll fucking help." We help.
That's awesome. But also, I don't know. I have a feeling what he wants is going to reflect what we want most of the time.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, I wasn't joking. Garl is effectively the leader of the party. Garl is a good guy.
Is the sleeper the dragon?
Yeah, the sleeper is the dragon. If he wakes, it will be the end of the world. They are not kidding. So Brisk is actually where the demo picked up. So after this town, after we beat the dungeon of this town and restore order, we're in the demo.
Gotcha. Okay.
What happened next?
So who's Mulkamode?
He's a earth sorcerer who they weren't very nice to, and now he's mad at them.
Gotcha.
So now he's kind of taken over the mines and clogged up the elevators, and it works itself out.
Mulkamode.
One evil wizard going down.
Woo. So as far as Trump's senility comments, I was thinking he's never been particularly smart.
No,
I wouldn't
not even
say
a little bit.
Completely stupid.
He's never had to be.
He's not completely. He's not like Ted Cruz stupid.
No,
but he's pretty dumb. Cunning, sure, sometimes, but dumb.
See, that's the thing. I don't know if it's cunning, and that's another thing where people can agree to disagree. But I'm not sure if he's ever had a master plan, or just.
I would agree.
What he says goes. So he likes to play it off like, oh yeah, this is what I meant all along, because things fell out into his favor because, he constantly fails upward.
Although sometimes he says oh, this isn't what I meant, when it's so completely obvious. You would hope for everyone that was taken out of context. When listen, you could just say it was taken out of context. You look at the context, it's no.
No, the context was pretty clear there, Donnie.
I agree. There's no master plan. There hardly ever is one.
No, there's no rhyme or reason to what he does. It's just whatever makes him happy in the moment.
I think he's scrupulous enough that it's he knows when he can press an advantage. He sees
that's true.
Probably because he's been so advantaged his whole life that he kind of knows when he'll get away with something.
Yes.
I think, yeah.
And I will say, and I don't mean this as a compliment in any way at all, but he absolutely knows how to identify a sore spot or a weakness in someone he doesn't like and press it to the point of madness.
Mm-hmm.
So like Joe Biden is, 86 years old, and he's always, gaffed a little bit. And that's been his signature for as long as he's been in politics. He always talked first and thought through things second, right? So Trump takes that and he's like, Joe Biden is a senile old man. Joe Biden is unfit to hold office. Joe Biden is borderline mentally incompetent. Joe Biden shouldn't be trusted with anything because he's going to forget and fall asleep, and he's going to destroy national security. Never mind that Trump spent 4 years doing all that shit and worse, and that Biden just occasionally doesn't watch his mouth. I mean, But, you know, that's what he does. He repeats things until it becomes something that people question. It's like, well, hey, he's got a lot of money and he seems to think Joe Biden is dangerous. Maybe Joe Biden is dangerous. Hey, he was in the White House and he says that this guy stole the White House from him. Maybe, you know, maybe something did happen with the election. We can't know, except we know. I mean, it's been counted and recounted and verified by courts of law. It's
not just that. It's been shown like, there was someone did try to steal the election and it was Trump.
And it was him.
Like,
and he failed
in so many different ways.
Right? And like he's still trying to do it, like the redistricting thing to keep women and minority votes suppressed. I mean,
there's that.
It's not secret what they're doing.
It's not. Yeah, it's not subtle. Well, the thing is, it's just not covered a lot of the time. Like you have people like what do you call it? Election deniers. I mean, they're in frickin' Senate and Congress now. Okay,
which is just horrifying to think about.
You have the fake electors, people literally in certain states that were like, hey, we're going to hold, what was it, certify, when you're certifying the votes. So that, like, I think at the Senate, the federal Senate can like, okay, we got all these, so here are the votes. Do you remember the fake electors thing where it was we're the ones, and it's for Trump, actually. Like, that was the most flagrant for trying to steal the election that there could be, you know. And
they never really got called on it to a satisfactory degree. Like,
no, because it would have been a bunch of people going to jail. Like,
but at the same time, like, I feel like if someone from Hillary's or Biden's camp did the same thing, like that would have been bigger than Benghazi. I mean which mind you, Benghazi was nothing.
Yeah,
it was literally the Republicans just throwing smoke. And, oh, what a nightmare we live in, man. It's scary shit.
It is. And I was gonna say, like, fake electors, they're literally in like charge of elections in certain states right now.
Why doesn't this alarm anybody?
Up. And so it's just like, it's, I think, gonna be pretty naked sometimes. Like, hey, wait, what are they doing? Like,
right.
I think if the vote was like really, really close, this could be, it's a problem. Of course it's a problem. But I think it'd be a bigger problem.
I like to hope that people with the power to do something about it are aware of it.
But sometimes it comes down to, I mean, we found out the last election, it came down to one person at some points, like in Michigan, where it was just like,
and that person now has to hide because people want to kill him.
Seriously.
Which is just crazy.
Like, just have it for Trump. Just
and I fucking do it. Just do the right thing, right?
There's exactly. And I think some people even know that there probably was no election interference, at least on the left. But they're like, but Trump has to be president. So,
yeah, of course. Like, if he's not, this whole
justify
thing is
the meme
gonna,
kind of thing.
Yeah. God, I really don't like this period of our national history. I don't like that I'm here for it. You know, like.
Yeah, and I hope it's not just something that definitely gets worse as time goes on. I have a feeling.
I think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, it's like, how much farther can we go? But
I think this might be the election where, you know, we have to draw some hard lines. Like, what are we willing to tolerate from the people who hold office? Because a lot of the things that they're saying or doing to justify their actions are quantifiably false, but are presented to some of the most gullible people in the nation as fact. And that is extremely dangerous. Because they're becoming militant over it.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen they're willing to do so much. We're getting to the point where a lot of them are willing to kill now. Like,
no, Sparks, I'm not trying to bring that on us, but I do truly believe, like, because so far they haven't faced.
That was more me. Sorry, Sparks.
No, they haven't faced the kind of consequences that will make them understand the gravity of their actions. And so, you know, they now think that the insurrection was something kind of cool that makes me a real patriot, and we should do it again, only bigger. No, because, you know, obviously this is cancer to you know, a free electorate. You can't do this and have there be no consequences. And yet so far, I mean, like, the people who have done prison times for their role in the insurrection are being called heroes by people who are holding offices. You have women who were elected to office who are now openly saying that women shouldn't vote. And that is scary fucking shit to think about.
Was that Bob?
It was Bobert and Green again, which again they don't care. They'll sell out their own children if it means that they get on TV for 10 extra minutes. I mean, it's just a bad time to be an honest person in this country. I mean, in any capacity. Like, if you're conscious bound to say something, someone is going to make you a political enemy, and that's true. It's frustrating. And well, it's more than frustrating. It's scary for a lot of folks. And so instead of going out and voting or speaking their mind or running for office like they should, they're hiding or privatizing or trying to make enough money that they can just divorce themselves from the process because the process has become cancer.
And there's so many either uneducated or just people who don't care. Like, they can be weaponized most of the time. I mean, Roger Stone is an idiot, but I think most of the time they don't even have to do the dirty work themselves. I mean, January 6th, Trump had to say
they can get poor working class people who they've tricked into thinking that Obama and the black people did this to them. You know? Like,
that is so sad to me. Like,
that's incredibly sad.
Yes, it's people that I do get angry with, like, oh my God, how are you this stupid, stuff like that.
But we know how they're that stupid. Like, the system failed them.
Yes, and I know that even if we don't talk about it too much, we have a lot more in common than we don't. You know, like, no matter how divided it gets, like, that is, I feel like, always the case. I mean, yes, there are some things.
I wish it were brain-eating slugs.
Sometimes there are things where it's just like, well, I don't believe gay people should exist, and it's just like, okay, no, I can't. Like,
like you and I do not have anything in common.
Or people these days, or it's just like, oh, genocide in Gaza, and like, well, you know, maybe Hamas shouldn't. It's like, no, we're not justifying why it's okay to kill children.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like,
or starve people out.
We're not going to do that.
Yeah.
That's something I couldn't tolerate.
God damn. Yeah.
Like you say, having to have uncomfortable conversations, it sucks. I've gotten a little bit more cankerous as I've gotten older. But I think it's also just like, you can't not, when it comes to something like that, that's so like, no, this is actually evil. Like,
yeah, right.
I you know, and when I hear people say stuff like that, oh shit, most of the time it's like, okay, are you being dramatic? Like, not dramatic, but are you being a little black and white? But it's like, no, this is, you can't justify killing kids. They're innocent no matter what. I think.
And I might get in trouble this year because some of the issues similar to that, I've quit my I'm slowly realizing that my filter is kind of reached its capacity.
Waiting. Yeah.
So like you know, someone comes up to me and says something to the effect of you know, we got to be supporting Israel because this is how we get Jesus to come back. Like, whereas a couple of years ago I might have said, well, let's look at the nuances here and try to, you know, understand what the Bible actually meant when it talked about God's chosen people. And this and that.
People don't like that Obama talk, Chris.
Right. Well, no, so that's what I used to say. Now I'll just be like, no, that's incorrect. Like, and I've had a couple of folks, so like, just kind of look at me like, you're Mr. Nice Guy. You shouldn't be saying this to me. Like,
and that's the thing. You're not being mean.
I'm not. I'm just telling. Like, I've just gotten to the point where I don't have the same, not tolerance, but patience for misinformation.
It's
And so
tolerance is like one thing. Patience is like, I'm just putting up with your shit right now, kind of thing.
Right. And I think a lot of people approach me or guys like me that way because they kind of know that I'm not going to belittle them.
Yeah.
But
I get that.
And that's what I'm trying to avoid. I don't want to belittle, but at the same time, like, again, my tact has changed to the degree that, well, exactly what I said. Whereas, Chris of 2016, Chris would have been like, let's look at the angles, let's agree to disagree, let's come to a common, what do we agree on, sort of thing.
Yeah.
2024 Chris is just like, that is absolutely not right, and you should re-educate yourself. It's just...
that's wrong. Here's why.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, and I've done that a couple times, and
that's not being mean. Like,
it's not. But I've also had like the comment made a couple times, like, hey, it's better not to stir the pot, or it's better not to ruffle these feathers. I'm like, I'm not the one ruffling feathers.
Yeah. They're the ones demanding your compliance.
Yep.
I mean, what are you gonna do? Just like pretend you didn't hear them or something? Like, either that or you're being complicit.
Yeah.
It's just...
And Sparks, I agree. Like, some people who believe truly ignorant shit should be belittled. But in my profession, I'm not the one who can do the belittling.
I get that.
Even at my most impatient, like, I do understand that if I do lose my cool and like, call someone an idiot or a bigot, like, I will have to answer for that. Not saying it's fair, but it is what it is.
And it's like, yeah, you do that once, and you'll have to answer for it. It sucks. So you just constantly need to...
Yeah.
I would say be on guard, because it's like, okay, well, most of the time we shouldn't have to, like, actively think about, don't belittle this person.
Yeah.
People are being fucking crazy these days. They're being ridiculous.
The other thing that I've gotten really good at saying is...
Pretty gay, by the way.
Like, you're looking for a political answer from me. I'm not a politician. And like, that's probably the easiest thing to say. But, like I said, I will get irked when someone is saying something that not only do I disagree with on an intellectual level, but on a humanist level. Like, this is evil shit that you're saying, and trying to get me to say that it's godly.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to fucking do that.
Which is just nuts.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know a lot of people are kind of drawn to extremes. Like, I think religion is a great thing for community. It's very hopeful. There's a lot of lessons.
It can be, but it is abused in this country.
Yes. And I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned from at least the New Testament. I mean, not so much the Old, maybe, I don't know. But, and yet I think some people are drawn to it because it's like, what gets more powerful than God, or more, what is the universal answer, whatever God says, and so it can short circuit some people's brains and be like, oh, this is the answer. It's what God wants. But a lot of times this is what they want, and they kind of like...
I'm not trying to proselytize here, Max, but you should listen to my sermon from this morning.
Oh, really?
Because I address exactly that. Like, I literally, for 10 minutes, call out people who make up a god of their own imagining that just agrees with all their biases, and why that's wildly fucking irresponsible.
Crazy how that works.
Yeah.
And funny enough, the biggest offenders a lot of times, I mean, yes, politicians, like nutso politicians, but also like these pastors of megachurches.
The evangelicals, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Evangelicalism is 100% a cancer. God says you need a nap, right? Not wrong, Sparks. Hold on, Chris. Brain not computing how. Here we go.
Oh, there we go. That thing that juts out. I don't know the next steps, but it's something new. Oh, will that hit? I think that'll hit if you go right. No, because you just came from there, obviously. Whoop.
This isn't hard. Oh, duh. Here we
go. Okay, nice.
I was being stupid. But yeah, so like that's been like a unique frustration about my job, and
yeah,
I bitch about it, and I love my job, and I know there's people whose like workplace woes far outclass mine, but at the same time, like, I don't know, I've kind of done it to myself. I've put myself right in the middle of kind of like the cross section of politics and religion, and it is
Yeah.
like I said, I have no one to blame but myself, but I'm rapidly losing my patience for it.
Yeah. I mean, that's not what you're thinking about when you're like in seminary and
No.
like coming to this. It's like, okay, yeah,
By the way, this is
maybe
Malcolm, this cute little guy here.
who's yeah. This whole thing has been kind of like, okay, first of all, the elder was like, yeah,
Kind of a
please save
dick.
us, thanks, bye.
Yep.
It's just okay.
But Malcolm is just this sweet kid who has magic, and no one in the town understands what magic is, so he's
That's
an
so funny.
outcast. And so, of course, after the fight, we're going to befriend him instead of slaying the evil wizard. You hurt Rocky. Get out of my fort. He's just a kid who made a fort. Anyways, yeah, so, sorry, go on.
Oh no, what's this is just ridiculous. I forgot what I was saying. Sorry.
No, you're good.
This is awesome. Shit, what the hell was I talking about?
Politics,
yeah.
religion.
Yes,
I put
and
myself
it's
in
like-
the middle of this. It's my own fault.
Well, no, it's not your own fault. Like, oh, he's going fucking Mario on you.
It
It's
is.
even if we saw that, you know, oh, some politics are getting like tangled up in religion, you're not thinking like this is going to be so much of what you're doing and that it's going to like take such a toll on you.
Yeah.
Like, and you say you're in the middle, and you are. I don't know if you put yourself there. Like, you put yourself in the job. Like,
Yeah.
and that's what the job ended up becoming at some point. Like, at least a big part of it.
Yeah,
And-
I will. Yeah, it's way more like even I've only been at it for 10 years. 2014 is when I started, and even in those 10 years, it has definitely become a way more I don't know, politically
Charged?
driven atmosphere than when I started.
Hmm.
And a large part of that is really just 2016 onward. Like 2016 is the
Yeah.
year where, you know, everything lost control, and we've never quite gotten back. And
Yeah.
COVID didn't do us any favors.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
COVID had a similar effect.
Yep.
Like, further entrenching people, and people just kind of like not caring
Yep.
anymore.
Yeah.
Like, for decency and things like that. Like,
Yeah. Common decency is something that I really feel like in the last decade has just been lost.
I mean, something Addie noticed, like, literally from 2016, like, she noticed it in the first few weeks
Mhm.
after Trump got elected. Is there was like 2 instances where someone was just like, "Oh, you bitch," and it's like,
Yeah,
Ooh,
and it's just
like,
okay because we're
that's
seeing it
always
on
been
TV,
there,
and if it's
but-
on TV, it must be okay, right?
like someone got like people are getting emboldened. It's like, well, what's the factor? And it's like, well, the most powerful person in the nation, in the world, sort of,
Is a belligerent child.
is
Yeah.
a bully.
Yep.
And so that must be okay. Like,
Yeah.
that's
But like I
Yeah,
remember,
that hasn't been
remember
good.
the night Trump was elected. I forget what news anchor it was and what station he worked for, but he said it really well. He said, you know, what are the immediate consequences that we're dealing with? Like, politics aside, parents, tomorrow morning you have to wake up and tell your children, you know, this man is your new president, but I still want you to treat your neighbor fairly and respectfully. I want you to do hard work because it does pay off. I want you to conduct yourself with integrity and honesty, regardless of what you're seeing from the leader of the
the
nation. right?
president. Yeah.
Right. Whereas it used to be, like, even under the worst circumstances, you could rely on the president to at least treat people with a modicum of respect, right?
Yeah.
But that was no longer the case, and you're right. I think we lost something because of that.
Yeah. Even just as a person, like, if you didn't agree with, like, I don't know, Bush Jr.'s politics,
Totally.
it didn't have to be like, hey kids, be nothing like him. It's just like,
Yeah.
no, he's still a respectable person.
Yeah.
At least
I mean,
in a personable sense.
he's stupidly wrong about Iraq, but
and if he's wielding power, that's, yes, he has blood on his hands with the power he wields,
totally
for sure. I'm just literally talking about the bare minimum, like,
conduct.
acting like a decent. Yes, exactly. Because again, your kids are not going to see the other stuff, at least until they get a bit older.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're going to see him on TV and this conduct.
Mhm.
So, yeah, the fact that Trump always is just like, one, pushing boundaries, but two, just being belligerent.
Right.
You know,
Well,
and
it
that's
used
like,
to be like the joke about politicians was that they had their TV personality, you know? Like
Yeah.
they had to get on and like even if they thought someone was a total asshole, they had to smile and shake hands for the camera so that everybody knew everything
Yeah.
was okay.
Yeah.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not even
Not
a little
anymore.
bit. So again, like children or people who are intellectually vulnerable and need that stability in order to function, they don't have that anymore. And
Yeah.
I think all that's left for them is panic and rebellion, right? Because that's the only way to make sense of this. Like there is some great evil that has taken over the world, and you know, my team, the white Republican team, is telling me that it's the other guys that are the reason that it's like this, and so I have to go to war against them. Like that's the only way. It's just sad. It's extremely sad.
is.
And like I said, I've lost my tolerance for abiding it. Like listening to people say like, oh man, can you believe this pedophile Joe Biden? He has a real chance of being elected again. I'm like, that's not true.
Yeah.
It never happened. He never did that. You can disagree with him, sure, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
am
like, well, wait,
feeling it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'm feeling it more and more that I'm realizing in the moment, so that I don't have to be like, you know, in the moment it's like, no, you're the one being inflammatory.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one
Completely.
being like, let me take the most extreme thing, Joe Biden, the pedophile.
Yeah,
It's
right.
Like, no,
Right.
no. Malcolm,
Yes. By the way, like
He's cute.
like the politics is pissing me off because this is a really sweet scene. Like Garl's just like, hey, you were dealt a bad hand. That sucks. I'm your friend.
I'm your friend, right?
Yeah. See? You just need a little. Thanks. Garl
awesome.
for president, man. Garl for president.
Seriously.
That's restoring peace
Nice.
to us. Like some kind of video game heroes. Still no cultural
whatever.
fighters.
Oh, that's it. Okay, yeah, that's where the demo is.
Yes. So yeah, we're next. The next episode should be pretty much the demo.
Yeah.
Oh, here's where you get your first glimpse at the evil cabal.
Oh, it's the second time.
Oh, it's the second time. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. There was a little bit back there, wasn't there? Hips. Excited
Ooh.
too.
I feel like we're kind of getting into some The Last Airbender shit here.
Okay. See, I never really got into that show, but I've heard it's really good.
Oh, dude. And it sucks because I think the first season is good, but it just gets better and better and better as time goes on.
Oh, cool.
I think the third season is the best. I think most people would probably agree, but a lot of people like the second season the best too because it's also awesome.
Yeah,
It just gets so much better in season 2. Like,
good to know. Has the threat been contained? Stop clogging the wind tunnels. Oof. This is the best part, though. Garl's like, just quit being an asshole. You should have mentioned your role in this. Respectful.
nice.
Yep. Like, people should play this game and develop their code
I
of
was-
ethics on it.
I was just thinking, like, you know what? These people, they're yes, they did this to themselves, and we
Mhm.
shouldn't have hatred for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, they need to be like, okay, you got to do better though.
Yeah.
Like, still got to do better.
You know, in a weird way, it kind of reminds me of King of the Hill a little bit. You know, like how Hank was able to solve every problem by just going in and giving a stern look and making people behave respectfully.
Behave. Yeah, exactly. That's what most.
That's what this game is.
most of the time.
Right? Oh, good stuff.
Mhm.
All right, so we'll save here, and we'll next time on Play the Hits.
Sweet. So Teeks is like, did I miss the part where is she just kind of tagging along for now, even though she tags along the whole game, or is she pretty much already like, hey, I'm gonna just ride or die, you know.
Yeah, I think later she gets a bigger idea of like, well, because at this point in the game, you don't even know what the real stake. The main characters don't even know what the real stakes are. They're just going
Okay.
To Wraith Island to fight a big bad, and then of course something worse reveals itself. But I won't
Also,
say what
she
that
is a traveling historian, so it's
Yeah.
like we're not taking her away from a home or something.
No, so she's just kind of she's on like a pilgrimage to gather lore essentially, and following your party seems like a really good way to get that. Now there's
For
a save
sure,
point right
yeah.
down here. But yeah, eventually she's like, "Oh wow, this is bigger than I thought." So let's.
Also, wait, did I miss this? Are the wind tunnels like because he's snoring, or is it literally just something else?
No, he was an earth mage, and so he clogged all the wind tunnels up with earth,
Oh,
so
but
that
I-
they couldn't do their mining operation.
Yeah, but I mean the wind itself. Is that just some natural phenomenon, or is it?
It's
I
just
didn't
the
know if
wind
it was,
blowing
like-
through the mountains and creating like tunnels, or
Okay.
going through the tunnels in certain ways. Yeah, but there's also
I was
like
like-
magic because it's an RPG. Yeah, this dragon is really freaking cool. Girl, check it out.
That is
Wait.
cool.
That's a big ass fucking dragon. Call my summer days are happening at the same time.
He's a kid.
Right? I love Garl. Adventure life is the best life. Okay, so real quick though, as we conclude this episode and save here, this is the first track. Oh wait, no, sorry, the second track in the game by Mitsuda,
Oh wow.
and you can immediately
You
tell
can
it's
tell
him.
immediately.
I love his music so much.
uh
All right, Max. Next time on Play the Hits, we get to go through a whole area of this beautiful music.
shit. All right. I'm looking forward to it, and you know, we'll see if I play this before the next time.
Oh, you better, man. It gets better and better the further it goes along.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Have a good night.
You too, man.